Hello and welcome back. This is a tutorial. I'm not certain which series it's going to be part of or which part in which series it's going to be part of, but I'm going to take it and put it up there for the time being and sort it out later. So one of the things that I've been trying to work on, and a few other people have been trying to work on as well, has to do with dual wield. You may have, some of you who have been trying this out may have noticed that hand switches with single wield, there's a whole bunch of cool things that you can do with them. There's the flip and a halves, the double flips, the rolls. But when you get to dual wield, you can do all kinds of things with dual wield, but your hands are kind of stuck on the saber that they're on for the most part. So a few of us were looking around trying to figure out, okay, how do we let go of the saber? And we came up with some of the stuff that you saw in a previous tutorial, the toss variation of the alternating obiani, and the backwards version of the same. Okay, but that's still keeping one saber in each hand. You'll see I've got my dark green over here, my dark blue over here, and with all of that they didn't change. So we were trying to figure out how do you get the sabers to change in dual wield without breaking the flow? And we've come up with, I've come up with one idea, and Chemist on the forums has come up with another. Let me show you his first and go over that one a little bit. I've sort of embellished on it. But the basic idea is it's trying to figure out how does it work into the flow of two-saber wielding. And one of the two-saber moves is a flower like this, or an alternating flower where we move it back and forth. Alright, so this flower gives us the opportunity, by having one blade above the other and moving in sequence, it gives us the opportunity to do something interesting with one. So the one way to switch the blades is in the middle of this flower. When one hand passes under the other, like this, right here, if I can throw an aerial with this hand long enough that I can switch this saber into this hand and catch it with the other hand, I can do a hand switch. Now that may have sounded complicated. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So we do the flower move until here. I'm going to toss this saber, move this saber to this hand, and catch this saber over here. So what that looks like: flower move, messing up there a little, toss, catch. Alright, so just to show you how that looks when we keep going. Okay, so there's the right hand variation. You notice sometimes it goes a little bit wild, but if you get good at it, you can catch it even if it's out here. But there's the right hand variation. Aerial with the right hand, catch with the left. So we can do the same thing with the left hand, because you notice in our flower, this hand, or the left hand, is going to go under the right at one point. It'll stop right before it hits the arm, throw the aerial, we move the saber from this hand to that hand and catch with the right. So there's a right hand aerial, there's a left hand aerial. Let me just show you the left. Same basic idea. I did one slow there, like that. Alright, and we can throw these back and forth. Right hand, left hand, right hand. That was a miss there. Okay, so right hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. And I can just sort of keep throwing them. I can throw flowers in the middle. So right hand, left hand, right hand, etc. Now that basic move, I can use it as a hand switch. I can also use that without switching hands, just throw it and catch it. I can actually even use that to get out of a reverse grip. So if I've got a reverse grip, I can throw it and catch it. It's a little bit more tricky because we have to do a turn and a half, but throw it, catch it. Alright, so that same move also, if you're a little bit lankier than I am, Chemist has been pretty good, or has had pretty good success with actually throwing that from here. Throw the aerial past the sabers and catch it. So we can throw it around actually either leg. If we throw it on the off leg, it goes further out that way. But if you're built a little bit differently than I am, then that is an option for you. It's a little bit awkward and iffy if I'm going to land it. So since I'm on hard floors, I'm not going to try that one in here. So that's one way to do it. But one thing that you notice about that, we're working off and alternating, one blade high, one blade low, working off the flowers, and when I throw it, there's a pause. The hand that's passing over sort of stops, moves, and then continues. So I was working on a different variation of that, whereby the blades didn't ever really stop moving. My first version of that was off of the simultaneous inverted Obiani spin, this one here. And when it got to here, what I was doing was, off of the inverted, I was just tossing like that. To get out of it, I then had to do a half spin and then start again. So that's one possibility. You'll notice that it works and we're basically keeping moving, but it's still a little bit clunky. We can do it off of the simultaneous regular Obiani, but what we're doing is we'd be doing that. And you notice that when I do these, when I throw this move, it inverts the handles, which required the half spin to re-invert. So we could theoretically chain these together. So the inverted, reverse wield inverted, inverted, reverse wield inverted, etc. So we wouldn't have to put the half hand switch in. We could just keep going with it. But a lot of people have hard enough time with the inverted Obiani, let alone the reverse grip inverted Obiani. While I was practicing this, I found out at one point that the easiest way to do this switch, we can get good at it, or we can get some practice at it by just simply doing this, because this is going to be part of the basic action. Once you're comfortable enough catching it when you do this, you'll notice that one of your hands is naturally going to be throwing over the top of the other one. For me, my right hand is always closer to me. I'm throwing it like this. They're passing, and then when it gets to the other hand, passing above. So figure out which hand of yours is going to naturally want to be on top of the other, and get used to that. Then once you're used to this basic movement as the hand switch, by the way, you can stop in the middle of a routine and just do this, and you've hand switched the dual wield, but it's not doesn't flow quite as well. So once you get used to this, and you can do it without doing either of those two things that I just did reliably, then move to what it looks like in a spin, which is going to reverse your grips. So let's see. Get used to that. And don't do that. There we go. Or that. And you notice that backing up and trying to show some of the processes here, I'm still making a fair number of mistakes. So again, something that's going to be hard to pull off. But my slimmed down version of this sort of incorporates all of these things together, and it works off of a simultaneous spin. So we can do this either off of a simultaneous downward or a simultaneous crossing over like this. And we can get here, by the way, from the flower. So if I'm doing a flower, all I have to do is change the tempo a little bit. So from the flower into the simultaneous crossover into just the simultaneous. Alright, so from the simultaneous spin, what we're going to do is we're going to break the plane with a half hand spin. So you notice these are going to the side of my body. With a half hand spin, I can stop right here and invert the plane to the front. So what that looks like Okay, so from there, I'm then just going to toss them over and continue. Alright, so let me throw a few of those together in a row just to show you what it looks like. Alright, and we can do this in part of a sequence. So here I've got the flowers. From the flowers to the first type of hand switch. Throw a couple. Other hand. From the flowers. And the trick here is to try to learn to stop letting them hit in the air. It's about the trajectory in which you throw them. And if I concentrate on it, I'm better at it than if I'm just trying to throw it together. But you see kind of how that works. So down to the side, across, down to the side, across. And then throwing it on the ground, obviously. So, as you can see from the number of drops, still kind of a work in progress, but the theory behind it is pretty sound. And it keeps the motion. Sabers are always moving, nothing ever stalls. It uses the half hand spin and the toss in front. So, half hand spin, toss. Alright, so with a little bit of practice, hopefully I'll be better at that, and and I've been able to throw a few of them together in a row pretty reliably when I'm not making the video, and irony dictates that I have to have them run into each other and drop them. Hopefully that's been of help, and I will see you on the forums.